Welcome to the Take Control Podcast, Episode 4, Taking Control of the American Dream.
All right, hey everybody, Bilal here with my good friends Lawrence and Donnie, the Take Control Podcast. So what's going on, guys? What's new?
Not too much change for me personally since last episode. Again, getting ready to go on deployment soon, making sure all my bills are have automatic pay ready, making sure my car is good to go, my apartment. Just, making sure I got nothing I'm going to be worrying about while I'm out and about. Same old stuff. How about you, Don?
Basically the same thing as last time. I'm not really doing much right now. Just chilling, watch some movies until I have to go back to work in a week from today, which is Thursday the 13th.
I will say though, I did start reading this new. I'm trying to get into reading. That's like one of my.
Nerd.
I want to call it a resolution, because I feel like that doesn't make it stick. But I really do want to start reading again, and I picked up this so George R.R. Martin created Game of Thrones, called this series that I picked up as the next big thing, his new favorite series. It's called The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. 4 chapters in right now. Honestly, it's pretty good. It's like a first person perspective and that fantasy genre. So far so good.
How many books does it have?
2 main story. The author said there's gonna be 3 books and the main arc is what he called it. There's 2 out right now, and then he has a side book that's apparently following one of the side characters, but I haven't even met that side character yet. But right now there's 2.
Donnie, you can read. I'm just kidding.
Barely. I can barely read. I actually have 3 books in my backpack. My backpack's in
Have they ever been out of the backpack?
No, but
I will say too. I did also finish Peaky Blinders this week. It took me forever to start this show, and I highly recommend it. I honestly thought it was fantastic. The acting was great. The story was great. It's only 6 episodes a season, 50-minute episodes, so it's not like you're just sitting there with a lot of filler. It was a very, very good show. I recommend it.
And it takes place in what, Britain?
Yeah, it takes place in Birmingham, which is a town in Great Britain. It's just after World War I, and it follows a gang. But the main character is honestly one of the best characters in any story I've ever followed.
That's actually a great transition to what we're talking about today. Great Britain, the American dream. So,
fuck your texts.
What does the American dream mean to you guys? What do you think when you hear it? What comes to mind?
Don, you want to take this one first?
Yeah. So, main thing that comes to mind is obviously maybe not just in the foreigner type of sense, comes to America, tries to better their life, and tries to live the American dream. That's what we're taught in school. It's mainly about foreigners. But it's also people like us, an everyday person, can also live the American dream. American dream has a lot more than just consumables being your American dream. It's more like your freedoms and all that. So, just being overall, what it means to be an American constitutionally is what the American dream is.
Big word, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, it took me 2 tries. But,
it did. Bilal, before I get into my piece, Bilal, I do notice the coffee mug you're drinking out of. Great episode. Great episode.
I am drinking a mug with the Starbucks logo, but it says "Dumb Starbucks" from the show Nathan For You. Shout out my college roommate Tom. He got me this mug.
Fantastic show. But I agree with what Donnie said. American Dream is really you read about it it's more for immigrants. They came to America to pursue the American dream, where you could start off with absolutely nothing and work your way up and have all these financial freedoms that in other countries in the early to mid 1900s just weren't available to your average Joe. But you were able to put the hard work in and achieve all that, and that was the American dream. I take it a step further, though. For me, I take a lot of sentiment in how we're able to keep those freedoms when it comes to the big picture, war, past wars, and not to get into like the political side, but it's mostly just, especially like big time World War II. That's one of like the biggest, I would say, historical events that I find a lot of interest in. Like there were kids, literal kids, 17, 18 years old, going to fight, storming the beaches of Normandy. Like these guys probably never even had a beer, and they're going there, up against, heavy machine guns, heavy artillery, and they don't even know life. Like they're a kid going to fight for the freedoms of everybody else and like set the foundation for the lives that everybody's able to live today. And I take a lot of sentiment in that, and I always thought to myself, and that's kind of why I'm in the position I'm in right now, because again, like I was saying, I'm very big on like World War II history, the movies, documentaries, all that. I always thought to myself, like, I would be one of those people that would choose to go fight for that. That's something I would fight for because I believe in it. And then how can I actually say that if I wouldn't do it? And that's a huge part of why I opted into enlisting. But
what's crazy?
Right.
What's crazy is like those kids, like they just went there, don't know life at all. They're younger than us,
literally,
and they get to like these beaches or the battlefronts where they're just an nothing, fucking no rank whatsoever, getting mowed down by machine guns and stuff. It's just absolute crazy. Like people that actually survived that, what they actually had to go through too.
And it's not only just like the invasions, because obviously D-Day, invasion of Normandy, that's like one of like the biggest events, obviously. But even like I was just a shower thought the other day, like the paratroopers that landed like just in like the middle of like Germany occupied France. Dude, you have no idea what your surroundings are. And there's like little kids that like drop into France, and you have no idea your surroundings. You don't know really when your backup's gonna come, where you're supposed to go, but we still made it happen. And I think
especially in those days,
I think that's so awesome.
You have no maps in those days, no real sound.
Well, they had maps. There wasn't that.
I know, but you things can change and all that. Like
no, for sure. And there's like communications is extremely hard. You can't just shoot a text like, "Oh, hey, we got overtaken at Beach Juno." It really is crazy.
Is that a real beach?
It is. It's one of the 5 beaches that were stormed.
Donnie, you just keep learning today, dude. I love it. I'm sorry, Donnie. I don't know why I'm on you today. I apologize. I'll stop.
Bilal, you take on. I know you had a lot to say on this subject, so please.
Yeah, but before I get to that, like the points you made, they're valid, and people. I don't actively think of like kids that went to war like so I could be where I am today.
Yeah.
So with that being said, thankful for your service. All service.
Stop
members,
it! Just go. Stop it! No,
you got it. You all right. Yeah.
No, I understand. I understand.
You want me to take it back from you?
No. So all right. So since you brought, I don't want to. All right. It's just
anyway.
No, just a quick caveat on that. It's weird when people say that to like us because we haven't experienced what those guys before us have. So it's just weird. It's weird.
Right, but you sign up to,
and that's fair. And it's understandable, but
I've been some Middle East. That shit sucks.
My mind, like,
all right. Well,
yeah, we'll just keep it going.
Sorry. Speaking of the Middle East, so the American dream for me is like the other hand of that. So I'm first generation. My parents weren't born here. So when I think of the American dream, I think of my grandfather and my father, but like my mom's dad and my dad. So they came to America like around the same time. Sole intention, there was one objective. It's like, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna work so that I have kids and the kids can go to school and like live a better life, period.
How old is your dad?
My dad now is 37. He came here.
Wait, what?
When he was like,
he's not 37.
Yeah, my dad's young.
No way.
47. 47. Okay, oh my god. Long day. Long day. Anyway, he came here like 15. He did high school maybe for like a year. He dropped out. Was just working jobs. Didn't matter what the job was. He was like taxi driver, car service, hot dog stand, anything and everything. And my grandpa did the same thing. My mom told me this. he was working in like a Spanish restaurant, like making Spanish food. Didn't speak a word of English or Spanish, but he worked in the kitchen, right? So it's like you think of that, and then I think of like where I am today. Like I fulfilled the American dream for them. And it's not part of it. Like to me, it's like yeah, I'm happy with what I'm doing and whatever. But anyone who's listening who's from like an immigrant background hears this growing up: doctor, lawyer.
Well, I would say,
that's
not to cut you off, I would say more of like if you're a first or second generation, not so much like an immigrant background, because, you know, at the end of the day, we all have immigrant backgrounds. But I think that what your point is more of like a first or second generation.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for that. But yeah, it was growing up as you heard you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a failure. Obviously, like I didn't take that like to heart. But when I was like a kid, I was like, oh, like, yeah, maybe I want to be a doctor or whatever. Because I hear it's just like, you know, the prestige, right? No one in the family was a doctor, none of that. So I like a big part of where I am today. I didn't like fully commit to this until like my grandpa, who I just talked about, he passed. And without getting like into details, I just saw like some terrible treatment by doctors. And I said, all right, this can't be what other people experienced at this time. It was miserable. Doctors were awful. No communication, nothing. We had no idea what was going on with the guy. And they could tell that like my family didn't speak great English. I was like a translator at like maybe 16.
I've seen that a lot of kids being translators before.
Yeah, it was just, you know, it like solidified like the path that I'm taking now. And then when I think of, you know, the American dream, it's that. It's you come here, you put in the work, and then you take advantage of the opportunities around you so that your future generations can live the life that you couldn't, right? Like my dad, till this very day, all he knows is work. The man doesn't know how to enjoy himself at all. A break? No, he can't. Dad, why? I gotta work. I'm like, why? Your kids are through college or like in college. What are you still working for? He goes, for you guys. It's like, you did it, right? But when you like compare and contrast that to what they had to go through, it's like it still blows my mind because a lot of people have like similar stories, and maybe you guys aren't first gen, but think like 3 generations back, it's the same story, right?
Yeah,
someone came here and
it's also like and it's kind of like what you're saying is that it's bigger than you. Understand, like the American dream enables you to see that it's bigger than you, and no, like, and not saying that the situations are the same. But my dad, my grandpa, like they're not, you know. My grandpa is first generation. My dad's, he was second, but they also like all they know is working, and it's to provide, you know, the next step. Like my grandfather literally worked. He retired. We had a whole retirement party for him when he turned like late 60s, early 70s ish. I don't remember exactly, but the man still went to work. Like 3 times a week, and then once my grandma passed away, he was going to work damn near every day because that's what he did. It's what he knew.
Yeah. So I guess looping that in, it's you hear it from like different points of view, and like that's the beauty of it, right? So when you think about America in general, it's that people from all over the place came here and said we're just going to make a better life for ourselves. But now, many generations later, people enjoying and living the American dream can all interpret it in all these different ways. And I think that's like just like representative of like what America is or was like intended to be.
And also I'm like, it's kind of already starting to get there now, but like I'm generally gonna like be happy when people, when they ask what their nationality is, they say, yeah, I'm American.
Yeah. Yes, people don't know the difference between nationality and ethnicity.
Exactly.
They're pretty stupid.
I usually when people say like, oh, what are you? I say I'm American, like I was born here. But then you always get the no, but what are you? Or like what are your parents?
I'm like, you know, it's like that's what I'm saying. Like I want it to be like, no, I'm American. My parents are American.
Yeah.
Don, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, also my aunt and uncle. My aunt has been working 3 jobs for like the longest time that I've known, and my uncle works, I think damn near 60 hours a week, every single week. So them getting us through our lives, really raising 6 children, and especially 3 that weren't even theirs originally, really like sets the bar for what I should be doing in the future. But besides that, that's really what I have for my family, my background.
I mean, that's not a besides that. It's the same thing, just different context, right? Still, the point is, you have the ability, if you work hard, to achieve that dream or that goal of, being self-sufficient and being able to take care of generations after you, right? Because of the sacrifices of the people before us, we can get to places that they've probably only dreamed of getting to, right? Think about all the doors that have been opened for me, like say it was for my parents, Lawrence, your parents, Donnie, your aunt, uncle, right? And then the people before them, and you could trace it up and up and up and up. So I think that something people often overlook when they're at their 9 to 5 or in college or school or whatever, you kind of forget that you're doing all these things with some sort of, I hope, some sort of end goal in mind. And there's a lot of things that we take for granted that allow us to have the freedom to go do whatever we want, especially with people like our age and younger, where we're still not the ones really providing for other people. We're still relying on whoever it is in our support system to help us go be whatever we want to be, whatever that is, career-wise or trade or etc.
So how do you feel that people don't really take advantage of the American dream that they have or the American freedoms that they have? They're just they're content.
I'll take this one, Paul, if you don't mind. And I would say it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So I definitely agree big time what you were saying, Bilal, where it's like, the generations before you and before them, they did whatever amount of work they had to do, so that way their next like lineage has that much more chances. So in a sense, it's kind of like if you're in a spot now where literally you can do whatever you want in America, like you can do whatever you want to do. And in a sense, it's kind of like your responsibility to at least like pay it back in some way. Like, yes, you can, do nothing under, your parents, your grandparents, whoever's house, right? But at some point down the line, me personally, I feel like you got to be able to, okay, I took, the cards I was dealt, like I was set up this life. Don't, like, you shouldn't feel ashamed for it. Like, no, like your parents did this for you, your grandparents did this for you, your aunt and uncle did this for you. But me personally, I feel like for you to feel like you belong, for you to feel like you're doing something, you have worth, you have to also then find a way to pay it back. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to start a business for my son's to do. It doesn't have to go like that deep. But as long as, and again, that this isn't like, I don't feel like any one person can say like, this is A, B, and C what you have to do. You got to find it in you, how you pay that back. Because somebody before you definitely put in a lot of legwork for you to be able to do what you're doing today. And I feel like that's really like that, making like the quote unquote American dream, even if you don't feel like you're doing it, it was accomplished for you to be where you are now.
So my question was really, I'm talking about like people that are content working a 9 to 5.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
it. They don't take any risk trying to do anything else ever.
Me personally, I like if you're working a 9 to 5, if you are content with knowing you have a stable job, you know where your food's coming from, and you're okay with it, then more power to you. I think the problem comes where if you're working that 9 to 5, but at the end of the day you're like, man, I hate my job. I hate this. Man, life's so unfair. That's where the problem comes, because nobody, like, you did not have to be in that position. But if you are content with it, then more power to you. As long as you're finding what makes you happy, and like that 9 to 5, it could literally just be a job. That doesn't have to be your life's work. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I think that's a whole other light on the American dream, right? stable job. You don't have to struggle for anything. You take your vacations. You can go out to eat with your family X and Y Z amount of times. You know, the average middle class, without saying like what the actual middle class numbers are, people start arguing about that. But that's in some sense, that is the American dream, right? To be able to have the like chances to go travel when your job allows, etc. But to go back to what you were saying, Don, I think that people who like explicitly have people around them working for them, and they just don't put in any effort, or they don't work nearly as hard as the people around them are working for them, right? An example could be like a family, you know, maybe a parent is working multiple jobs just so that the kids can have Christmas gifts this year. Okay. But the kids aren't appreciative, right? The kids don't realize. That to me is not really like kids, I mean like teenagers and young adults that are still relying on their parents. That to me grinds my gears.
Yeah.
It just in multiple aspects. I was raised in a different way, and it's just like, how can you not see that these people are sacrificing everything,
their life,
everything,
literally
for you?
their life.
All they're doing is serving you, and providing for you. They don't have to do that, especially if you're like over 18. You're an adult. Go get a job. Go provide for yourself. That irks me. Sorry, I got on a little rant there.
No, in a sense, that was kind of answering this question though. Like I went a little off, but that is kind of, you know, those being content.
And like another, well, this is more of like devil's advocate kind of thing. If you don't take advantage of the opportunities that are around you, somebody else will. And you could just be sitting on the sideline like, oh, I remember when I wanted to do that, but I'd rather, you know,
play Apex.
Do nothing about it.
I'd rather play Apex all day.
Well,
yeah. So
yeah,
one thing that actually has been pissing me off pretty recently. I was on Twitter the other day.
Well, there's the red flag right there.
Yeah,
letting Twitter get you upset.
All these people are talking about, oh yeah, why is 40 hours a week acceptable to work and all that. It's like, bro, at least you have a job. You know how many people are out there looking for jobs, and then you're fucking complaining
if you're
about 40-hour week. Then quit.
If you're complaining and have the time to sit and complain on Twitter and then like reply in a thread, it's not that serious.
Exactly.
You've clearly got the time.
Exactly.
You've got some internet, some smartphone. People take things for granted and make their problems so much more than what they actually are. That's another thing that really irks me about our generation and the generations under us, is that everybody thinks that they're dealing with this like horrible thing. Meanwhile, there's people that have no food, no home, loved ones dying, can't afford medical bills. The list goes on and on and on and on. Meanwhile, I'm sorry, Becky, if John broke up with you at the Jersey Shore, life moves on, you know?
Life rolls on.
It's life rolls on.
Shout out
to Gerard.
No, but a good quote. I like having quotes, right? So this is in my notes, and this is actually hitting the nail on the head on what you guys are saying, right? So this says, hard times create strong people. Strong people create good times. Good times create weak people, and weak people create hard times. And it's kind of just a cycle. So we're kind of getting to the time now where, you know, we're starting into that weak people stage are going to start creating hard times. That people are starting to feel entitled because of how much is given to them by the people before them that had the hard times, and they had to become hard people. It's coming, like, in a sense, full circle.
Now, Donnie, unless you had something to say to that.
No.
Something that is kind of related. We like went off the tangent of the American dream to like.
I think it's still.
I think it's part of the American dream.
Ties in.
I'm gonna.
Taking advantage of the American dream.
Give us the bunny loop. Tie your shoe.
Well, no. This is like, I'm gonna tie it back, but take like the other side of it.
Okay.
So, speaking of the previous generations that worked so hard, how do you guys feel when there's a lot of back in my days, when things are like entirely different? I see both
Give an
sides.
example.
Oh, so
Give
I'm like,
give an example. Wait. I want to hear an example of how you feel because I look at this in a couple different ways. So I want to see what you mean.
Me personally, so I guess like an example of what I'm talking about is like a quote unquote boomer says to like someone our age, and they go, "Oh, back in my day, while I was in college, I got a house, I had a car, I was able to do all these things at the same time." Meanwhile, now it's like you need to take out a mortgage from the federal government to get a degree in like history. Not that there's anything wrong with a degree in history. I'm just saying, like, in terms of, it's entirely different. But on the other hand, I know. Sorry, Don.
No. I know
get into it.
I know you almost.
I see the side of it that like it's an entirely different ball game. Wages are different. Things were just different. But then, I also see the point that like the work ethic back then was different. And that could be taken in a lot of different senses. Whether it's like now a lot of work ethic is like go to school, learn a lot, get a high paying job, versus back then it's like do things, right? Like do things that make you money. So I'm kind of like in.
It's kind of all right. So, I agree with what you're saying, and that's why I wanted you to give an example first because it's kind of, in a sense, you can't have one without the other, right? So I look at the quote back in my day, and like a mentality aspect. But then there's also a circumstances aspect. But realistic, it's kind of hard to have one without the other. Because yes, like back in my day, I was out of my parents' house by 18. I had my own house, had my own car, had a full job.
Yeah.
But circumstances allowed for that because of the cost of living, the economic situation.
Right.
Circumstances today, obviously cannot support that. Really, like for your average Joe. But also then like the back in my day mentality also kicks in where it's like, and this is like more of like a military standpoint because I hear it all the time, like all the older guys or back in my day, you looked at your higher ups like they were gods, where now we're like we look at them as people because they are flawed. Back in the day, if your superior told you to do something, didn't matter if you thought it was wrong or if they actually weren't wrong, you were gonna do it. That's just how it was. But it's changed now where you can like you challenge people now where it's like, well, I don't want to do that because I don't think it's right. I think we should be doing X, Y, and Z. And again, you could be right in the situation, you could be wrong, but they always, that's just like back in my day, that was never questioned. It was just, if I'm higher ranked than you, you do what I say. It's different now.
Which I think is funny because obviously it's the same people that are saying back in my day that changed the rules along this way. They're the ones that are in that situation that changed those rules or changed the mentality because they hated how it was back in the day.
But yes and no. Yes, I do agree. Of course, like you have to quote unquote pay the man. You have to be the junior guy. You have to be the guy that does the shit jobs. But I think also we're getting so much more advanced now, especially like through the internet, especially where like you can't have a situation that happens in California and like it's like a low end job. Like you're gonna hear about it in New York and hear about it in Virginia. So it's like those things are like, back in my day, this is just how it was done. It doesn't float now because you have so much more of a voice to everybody that you'll have enough following where no, we're gonna start changing things. And I think it really is because of the internet. Shout out to Gambino.
Ah, nice. So, kind of to wrap us up here, we've been talking for 30 minutes, and in those 30 minutes, I owe the federal government even more money than when we started. So back in my day, you could afford all this. I owe the federal government a mortgage so I can learn to be a doctor.
I got paid probably about like $1.20.
Must be nice, dude. Is there anything you guys wanted to wrap up on before we close out?
No, I'm pretty good. I think we got some good talk here. Don, you got anything?
Yeah, well, so just gonna get a little bit political.
Ugh. I hate when they say that.
So basically, I enjoy the freedom. American dream is also your freedoms. So I enjoy having the freedom to be a proud gun owner and keeping my guns with me at all times, even though there's people that disagree. it's
In a legal state, he lives in a legal state. He lives in a legal state. He lives in a legal state.
FBI, don't worry.
even though like I do disagree with some gun laws, but that's not what I'm trying to get at. And just even though I am vaccinated, I don't really care if people aren't or are vaccinated. It is what it is, and like I just like how you have the freedom to pick what you want to do with your life.
Well said. Sense. Well said, Donnie. Well,
but do you respect that we can all live in harmony with our differing opinions? Like, say you have one stance, but do you like respect and understand that people can have like other stances, regardless of the topic? That's what America is, no?
Yes.
Yeah. A melting pot of people with different opinions, different backgrounds, and they can sit and talk about these things without hating each other.
Yeah, if they're educated about it. Yeah.
Right.
And not just...
So, are you included in the... No, never mind. You're going to end it right there.
And then it's going to lead us to...
Hello?
What's going on, Ted?
What do you want, bro?
What do I want? I was saying what's up. Is everything all right?
Yeah, it's back to work. I'm sick of it.
What are you doing?
I'm driving around.
Oh, you're on patrol right now?
Yeah. Patrol's how I roll.
Wait. What snack does he have today?
What's the snack of the day?
Huh?
What's the snack of the day?
The snack of the day, I went to the pretzel factory and had
I told you.
pretzels with some nacho cheese.
That's it?
That's it. That's all I ate today. That's the only thing I
Did
ate
he
today.
leave a drop of cheese in the
Is
container?
there a drop of cheese
Do I have a Pepsi?
in the container?
No Pepsi. Yeah,
No
I even have a
Pepsi either?
No Pepsi today. What else did I drink? Oh, I had a milkshake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, milkshake.
Uh,
Yeah, vanilla milkshake.
Okay. Yeah, you call mom yet?
No, I didn't call our mom.
Okay.
No, not yet. When I get out.
Okay. Yeah, Billy and Donnie said what's up.
Screw them.
That's what they all say.
You know, I gotta get back to it.
All right. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Enjoy your
Bye.
meal.
Enjoy the meal.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.